So the topic actually recently came up as to whether or not I have any appreciation for the Mechwarrior / Battletech universe. And as always, despite my opinion about big, stompy, bipedal robots being known, the answer is always yes. I mean, it is a significantly notable science fiction universe, and thereby it is significantly notable, right? But the problem is, what part of Battletech and or Mechwarrior are we talking about? Are we talking about the Reunification War? Are we talking about the Amara Civil War? Are we talking about the First Succession War? Or the Second Succession War? Or the Merrick Civil War? Or the maybe Third Succession Massive War? Or the Fourth Succession War? Or the War of 3039? Or the original clan invasion, or this, that, and the fornicating other. Because yeah, when you get right down to it, Battletech is a massively complex and complicated timeline. And the thing is, I didn't even get to the end of the timeline, and I skipped a number of things in the middle of that timeline, but the point is I actually got to where I was trying to drive towards. I'm a little sneaky like that. In the meantime, imagine that you are a member of a border system. And if you know anything about Battletech and or Mechwarrior, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, welcome to the ride. The point is, assume you're in a border system between, say, the Ghost Bear clan and the Inner Sphere. And your particular solar system has survived all the fights, all the conflicts, all the stupidity, and you're just like dangling on because at this point you don't actually know what to do. And then someone from the Ghost Bear clan, since that is technically the territory that you are part of now, congratulations, comes to you with an idea. And that idea is the whole point of this episode. Any ship left on the dock for more than 24 hours will be compressed to a cube at the owner's expense. Welcome to Sacred Cow Shipyards. See, the idea basically boils down to, I want to go poke that guy way over there. And since this request is coming from the Ghost Bear clan, and since we're talking about clanner technology, the obvious answer that everyone knows about poking someone way over there boils down to the Timberwolf. It's the mech that everyone knows. It's the mech with the B-29 cockpit with these massive shoulders of so many missiles on each side. Come on. It is literally the mech that everyone everywhere knows. And I mean, not without reason, honestly. This thing shows up to the party with 2 extended range large lasers, 2 extended range medium lasers, 1 medium pulse laser, 2 LRM-20s, and 2 machine guns in case anyone wants to get close and friendly. And all of that comes at the totally redonkulous price of $24,233,124 C bills. Now, for the record, I do not give a flying fornication about how the board game, or various video games account for like the cost of these vehicles. I'm just going to run out the C bills for the time being. And the people who I am talking about coming to you wanting to poke someone way over there are running on a budget, right? So maybe, 24 million per pop is a lot much, really. So let's look at what the Timberwolf is called in other circumstances. Inside the inner sphere, it's called the Mad Cat. And there's a reason for that. Because if you squint hard enough, it resembles the bastard combination of a Marauder and a Catapult. Well, the Marauder is designed for marginally long-distance engagements, but not for a very long time. So let's take a look at the Catapult instead. And yes, I am assuming that this particular hypothetical planet in this hypothetical situation has access to all kinds of inner sphere and planar tech, and just roll with it, okay? Don't be too busy about the details. But regardless, the Catapult's kind of fun, right? The Catapult comes standard with 2 LRM-15s and 4 medium lasers, all at the actually fairly reasonable price of 5,790,125 C bills. Okay, fine. As a mech goes, that's not expensive, right? And for those of y'all who are catching up on like Battletech and or Mechwarrior terminology, LRM stands for Long Range Missile. They are meant for long range engagements. And LRM-15, or for example SRM-15, short range missile for example, the 15 number means that for every volley this thing fires, there are 15 missiles from each launcher in the air. So the Catapult, being armed with 2 LRM-15s, can engage targets at a long distance with 30 missiles per volley. Not bad, right? And all that for the measly price of not even 6 million C bills. But say, imagine I was a particularly good salesperson. I'm not. Imagine, for example, I was particularly skilled at selling my wares. I'm clearly not. Imagine I told you that there was a weapon platform out there that, yes, the Catapult has 2 LRM-15s for 6 million C bills. Imagine if I told you, for just slightly over 6 million C bills, I could not only get you 4 LRM-15s, but I could also get you 2 additional MML-9s. What's an MML-9, you ask? Good question. MML-9s are what you need them to be when you need them to be it. Basically, if you want to shoot LRMs out of them, you can shoot LRMs out of them. If you want to shoot SRMs out of them, you can shoot SRMs out of them. It all depends on what you load the vehicle up with out of the armory. So yes, I am giving you the option of 2 additional launchers that can each fire 9 missiles apiece. And maybe one will be LRM, maybe one will be SRM, maybe both will be SRM, just in case someone gets too close to you. But regardless, I'm telling you that for the price, a little more than the price of a Catapult, you can have twice the LRM capacity, additional LRM capacity if you want that, and oh, by the way, a single extended range medium laser. Yes, I know that the Catapult has 4 medium lasers, fine, but they aren't extended range, are they? Extended range will allow you to pick off targets before they get to you, before you even have to worry about using the normal standard medium lasers. This seems like a win, right? I'm not even joking about the marginally slighter price, even. The Catapult, again, costs 5,790,125 C bills, and this particular awesomeness only costs 6,110,000 C bills. Even numbers. Everyone likes even numbers, am I right? We are talking less than 400,000 additional C bills, and you can buy yourself this amazing beauty, otherwise known as a JES-2 strategic missile carrier. And ain't she hilarious? I mean, I wasn't even joking. This thing does, in fact, have 4 LRM-15s on it, and 2 MML-9s, and an extended range medium laser. That's already a spicy conversation. And on top of that, she has an amazing 8-ton ammo bay for the main launchers, allowing her to shoot almost 4 minutes of continuous fire of LRMs. That's a lot of freaking LRMs, yo. And then the multi-missile launchers are just on hot standby as to whether or not you want to launch long-range missiles or short-range missiles. And then all the same, you've still got a freaking extended range medium laser to keep infantry off of you. And all of this at a marginal cost more than a catapult. Now, if we want to actually start paying attention to the game, the catapult has a battle value under 2.0 rules of 1,399, whereas the JES Strategic Missile Carrier Mark II has a battle value under, again, rules 2.0 of 1,349. So amusingly, the missile launcher is 50 battle value points less than the catapult, although somehow costing more in C-bills. Now, some of that probably has to do with the fact that the missile launcher weighs in at 95 tons, whereas the catapult only masses in at 65 tons. Additionally, the catapult, for having half the LRM launchers, can move twice as fast as the JES-2 strategic missile carrier. So basically the question boils down to, are you defending a strategic defense point or are you going on the offensive? Because yeah, the catapult will outrun the JES-2 strategic missile carrier every day of the week and double on Sundays. But on the flip side, the JES-2 strategic missile carrier can put down a whole pile of hurt wherever it wants to, as long as it doesn't have to move very far. And I guess technically this is not the best dichotomy example of like vehicles in Battletech versus mechs in Battletech, because as I have always said, Battletech always biases a game towards the big stompy robots, which is fine. The big stompy robots are the point of the game. Let's just not pretend that's meant in any kind of realistic way. Let's just accept that it is simply the game and that is how it works, okay? Because yes, in this particular case, this stupid little tank is throwing down the long-range hurt. And for some reason, it costs nearly as much, it costs more than a mech. Why? Because we have to balance the game that way. Because mechs are the supreme combat vehicle in Mechwarrior and or Battletech, and therefore everything else has to bow to their supremacy. Do I like it? No. Bipedal combat robots are dumb. Quadrupedal combat robots are okay. Octopedal combat robots are terrifying. But this is what Mechwarrior is. So I tried to give the JES-2 strategic missile carrier as best a review as I could. And the fact is, it puts down more long-range hurt than a catapult could ever try to. And as long as you can keep your enemy at a distance, you'd probably be better buying a JES-2 strategic missile carrier than a catapult, because it can simply put down more hurt at a range faster than the catapult can, and it can keep up that hurt longer than the catapult can. Now, does the game actually factor in all those details? Because stompy robots must reign supreme? No, it doesn't. Every single Battletech game always prioritizes stompy robots over everything else in the game, even though frequently everything else in the game is massively more heavily armed than the stompy robots. It's just what you have to live with. And yes, I know, technically in all this comparison and all this whining I'm doing right now, I'm comparing a 2561 era Catapult against a 3079 JES-2. I get that. But if you look at these data sheets that I pulled off of nullg.space, and I have no idea if they're accurate or not, but I'm going to use them as a point of reference all the same, we're still talking about a mech that weighs 65 tons and a tank, for lack of a better word, that masses in at about 95 tons. And somehow the tank has less armor and massively less internal structure than the massive, complicated walking robot. Because after all, adding legs and arms to a construct totally makes its internal structure stronger. Wait. And then suddenly the gyro for the mech accounts for its defensive capabilities. Well, no. I mean, yes, technically the gyro keeps the mech upright, but that's the only way it actually functions. If it falls over, it's not going to function. So the gyro is just there because it has to be there. I mean, yes, it will also help when the mech gets hit, but still, you're going to need a gyro to keep it upright while you're walking around. It's not that complicated. And somehow that, for some reason, counts towards its defensive combat rating. Then on top of that, the mech has an arbitrary defensive factor bolted onto it, whereas the tank has an arbitrary unit type modifier subtracted from it, and then defensive factor also bolted onto it as well. What? Where did those numbers come from? Oh, right. One's a mech and one's a tank. We're back to that problem again. And yeah, the JES does get defensive equipment bolted onto it as well, but that's because it has an ECM suite on it. So that makes a certain degree of sense, at least. Moving on, it appears the Catapult has an actuator enhancement system as well as a triple-strength myomer system built into it, which doesn't really do anything for its offensive rating, so at least there's that. But I'm sure that's how it gets away with its speed. On the flip side, I have no idea why the ammo cost for 4 LRM-15s does not cost twice the ammo cost of, say, 2 LRM-15s. I assume that's because the JES has significantly more ammo capacity on board than the Catapult does, again with that firing for 2 minutes straight problem. But still, we're looking at two vehicles, one massing in at 65 tons, somehow having nearly as much armor and strictly massively more internal structure than one massing in at 95 tons. Now yes, the 95-ton system does have 4 LRMs as opposed to just the 2 LRMs, but it only has the 1 medium laser as compared to the 4 medium lasers on the Catapult. And somehow it doesn't have massively more armor, a massively stronger internal structure, or any real reason as to why it's 30 tons heavier. And on top of that, it lacks all the mechanical complexity of, legs. And yes, you can hand wave everything away with myomer filaments and this, that, and the other. Strictly speaking, mechanically speaking, legs are more complicated than wheels, especially when you only have 2 of the legs. And yes, I know the JES only has wheels in the front, but technically the tracks are propelled by wheels as well, so you get what I'm saying. And all that is to say that basically this massive ball of admittedly slow hurt is somehow only as capable in the game as this medium ball of moderate hurt. That is, yes, strictly faster, and yes, speed makes a difference in a lot of combat scenarios. But really, are you seriously going to argue these two vehicles are comparable? I know they're priced about the same, and I was using the C-bill reference in the past, but still, that's probably you're just paying a markup for the Catapult, with it being a mech and all. Because again, you're back to being complicated. A tank with massive amounts of missile pods on it? Y'all have already figured that out. But what I really want to know in the end is, how do you steer this thing? I mean, obviously it's a half track, but with those double wide tracks in the rear and the little wheels up front, I don't think those little wheels are doing a whole lot of good.
And that's all from Sacred Cow Shipyards. Please be advised that any ship left on the docks for more than 24 hours will be compressed into a cube at the owner's expense. Have a nice day.